Hello everyone, welcome to Beasnael. We are not the same. Wow, 2021 is here. Vaccines are here. Ladies and gentlemen, remember to wash your hands thoroughly for 20 seconds, social distancing, wear your mask. But guess what? We've had an interesting week this week. We had Martin Luther King's Day, and some of you might have watched a little thing called the inauguration. Guess what? Let's talk about the fashion for this event. Well, Michelle Obama, she slayed. And can we say Lady Gaga? Wow, what an outfit and what a voice. J-Lo, we did not forget you. But guess what? What stole my heart was the beautiful, beautiful young lady, the sister, the poet. I saw my daughter in this young girl. The inauguration, this election, if I might say so, is not about who you voted for or not, but it's about the historical aspects of it. Let's take a moment to revel and admire the immigrants that built this country, and also the immigrants who are away from this country, building this country outside of this country. With that said, another one on this rock, we have a special guest for you. Who said choir directors were not cool? I'm gonna show you a little secret. We have Jason McGee.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I love being here.
Oh, I'm the one who is over the moon because I'll let you tell us who you are. First, tell the audience who you are.
Who am I? I've been asked that question a lot lately, and I'm not sure if I knew if I knew it before the last couple of weeks, but no. I'm Jason McGee. I'm a gospel music recording artist. I have a choir called Jason McGee and the Choir. I am also the pastor of worship and arts at the City of Refuge Church. In addition to the fact of being an actor, a host, just I guess an all-around entertainer, but most importantly, I think my greatest job is being a child of God.
Being a child of God. And I like that because I think I stalk you on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? And there was a post that you had and it just said child of God. And I paused for a minute because I think a lot of us don't realize how powerful that is and the gifts that we get as children of God. Can you elaborate on that?
As a child of God, it's funny, I've actually been talking a lot about like the natural gifts that we were given, a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't even ask for, but the Lord saw fit to give us these gifts so that he would ultimately send us out in the universe so that he would get the glory. And I think as children of God, our responsibility is to use those gifts to their utmost capacity and to exercise every single gift that we've been given, to discover them, to exercise them, and ultimately to give God the glory for them. And I think he gets all the glory when we use every single one of them and when we fulfill purpose. And so as being a child of God, I'd want nothing more than to be his son. Like I said it was funny, I audibly said it last year in one of my prayers to God. I said, thank you for making me your son. Like I am so grateful to be your son.
Wow.
To say that I am God's son. Like it's there's so much honor in that. You
know what? There is so much honor. We have the same father. We're family, right?
That's right.
And that's the beauty of being a child of God. But back to the gifts that you have so many. I can't even keep up. I know you forgot one that I'm like wanting to tap into, the stylist part of you.
It's so funny. Everyone wants me to talk about that. I feel like it doesn't come natural for me to say it. But I think I better start, right?
Right. No, I mean, it's amazing when your page, I'm going to go back to your Instagram page, but also we'll talk about church in a minute. It's so colorful. It's so bold. It's like on a day-to-day basis. I get inspiration by, as a woman, by looking into your page. I'm like, okay, what did he put together today? Let's see. Right? Do you just get up and say, okay, I'm going to wear this, or how does it work? Because you also tap into, I think you extend that into styling some friends, I noticed.
Yes. Yes. Style has always been like clothes since I was a kid. Style has always kind of been the thing that I really enjoyed. Like I enjoyed how colors and fabrics and textures and all that stuff merged together. I ended up working at Gucci for about 5 years, and that's really what just opened my mind to this world of fashion. Yeah, I just like I don't. Everyone always asks about my closet, right? They're like, "What do you have in there?" And people don't know. I purge my closet twice, 3 times a year, and I just take out. I take out all the things that I like, and I give them away.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I either replace them or I just hold on to the things that I love. And so, I just I love putting clothes together. I love taking pictures in my clothes, and I love posting them. It's funny, this sweatshirt, I think it's a little backwards because of the camera, but it's actually the and sign that's inside of my choir's name.
Here and see the and sign. And I was going to ask you about that because, everything that you wear has a little bit of a meaning. No,
it's never by accident. It's never by accident.
I'm your sister. I know.
Last year we started, we've been wearing all these things, whatever, with our logo on them. Mm-hmm. And I decided to embrace my fashion elements and whatever, and to start creating sweatshirts and t-shirts, and some things that I'm actually going to start releasing very, very, very soon. And it's actually this logo. It's going to be on some hats, some beanies, some shirts, and really start taking the other thing that I'm known for, if you will, the other thing that people love to see from me that has nothing to do with music, has nothing to do with church, they like to see it from me personally. I'm going to start embracing it. It's time.
No, well, choir directors are cool.
Yes, we are.
That sentence caught my attention only because the choir directors and the story of a choir director has not always been as cool. I think this is funny. You're gonna love this because whenever we're getting ready to go to City of Refuge, we go to the same church, y'all.
Yes. Yes.
My kids, if they're lagging to wake up or whatever, I'm like, well, Jason's gonna sing. Okay.
Oh, tell him I said thank you.
No, you've met him. You've met my son. My son's like, Jason? Okay.
Tell him I said thank you. I appreciate that. It actually means a lot to me.
Yeah, but did you receive any formal training? Tell us about your journey from being a singer or from being who you are to becoming a choir director.
I didn't receive formal training for becoming a choir director. My mother was my first choir director. Oh. And so growing up, that was my example of what I'm supposed to do. And so I started directing around the age of 13 or so, but I started really doing it around 4. I was actually 14. It was the summer of 1994.
Oh, wow.
My mother called the church where my choir was, and she said, "Put Jason up. I'm not going to make it tonight." And so I had to direct the choir. No rehearsal, no anything. Just jumped up there and directed the choir, and I fell in love with it. And I started directing from that moment on. And so that's actually been my journey, honestly. My journey has been directing choirs. And when I moved to Los Angeles, I moved here to study theater.
Oh, wow.
And so it wasn't about directing choirs. I was driving home all the time to see my family, and I would direct the choirs there. But it was in 2004 that I started directing at the city. And then I started all of a sudden get called to direct on television. And I started getting called to be in studio sessions. And then it just kind of branched into, well, maybe I should start my own choir. So I started a choir at the church, and then we started winning competitions, and we started booking commercials, and we started appearing on, we appeared on the BET Celebration of Gospel in a featured spot.
Right.
And I was like, well, maybe there's something to this whole directing thing. And I remember talking to someone, and they were just kind of joking about the stereotypes with choir directors. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, actually choir directors are cool. And I went, wait a minute, that's a hashtag.
That's a hashtag indeed. Oh my goodness. It tells you about your gifts. Ladies and gentlemen, Beasnael, we are not the same. We're on with Jason McGee. But you mentioned, hey, like if you do a church, what is it? A dance. Not to see us at church. I mean, we're just clapping, we're just, sweating. But mothers know best. And your mom knew, the giftings that you had. And I think little to your surprise, I think you didn't even know that this would bring you to the point that you're in. I think where I saw you in the choir and I was like, wow, was on BT. I think you guys performed. This was like years ago. And I was
2009.
like, yes, yes.
Yes.
I watched that and I was almost in tears because you were so active. You were just, you captivated the whole audience. But that made me think, because a few times I've seen you at church just take off your jacket when you're, when you're directing. How much work does it take for you to even do one song when we see you with the choir?
I'm actually really glad you asked me that question because no one ever asked how much it takes. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to, and I'm such a perfectionist and I'm a little OCD about how things are supposed to be. And so like to do one song, especially on like a TV show, it's hours of rehearsal. It's communication with the band and the singers and the stage. And, sometimes I'll walk a stage before my choir gets there to see how much room I have to move, how long my wingspan is so that I don't hit anything or where and so it takes a lot of work to do one song, at church on Sundays, you just have to sometimes hit go. Right. Sometimes the song wasn't rehearsed. And so as a director, you have to you have to communicate with them with just your hands.
Yeah, I see.
You have to tell them what's in your head. You have to tell them like I hear these things and I have to tell them with my hands what I need them to do. And that's all I have. I just have these hands. Wow. So it signals and it's moved and it's faces and it's, they're communicating with the band to make sure that everything is seamless and everything has a flow. It's a lot of work, and if you're not called to do it, it will overwhelm you.
No, I watch you and I think, oh my goodness, that takes an energy level that's at its highest form, because I don't think it's just even physical. I believe it's mentally and it's also emotionally. And then
connection.
Right? And then when you throw the church, okay, I'm not saying too much. You have to be on point. And I just admire that. But we will talk about, you have something new that's out, a new baby.
I do.
Talk about that.
I do. So we recorded a song called "It's Not Over," and we released it in March, but we released it right before the pandemic, and when everything shut down in 2020, we my label owner Warren Campbell and I had a conversation, and he really felt like the song needs to be re-released visually.
Wow.
And so we decided that it was time to do a music video for the song, something that really spoke to what's going on today, that it's not over till God says it's over. You're not finished, it's not over. And we know 2020 has been tough on so many people, but we just wanted to do some sort of a visual presentation, letting people know that God has the final say, and whatever he speaks is what is.
Yes.
And so we wanted people to know that it's not over for you. So we just really, all that to say, on January 1st, on New Year's Day, 2021, we released the music video to "It's Not Over." We're super excited about it. It's getting a lot of love, and we literally couldn't be more excited about it.
Oh, no, it's beautiful. I watched it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen it, please, take a look at it. It's very, very touching. But there's a shot in there where I see everyone sitting, I think that's the main shot, where everyone is sitting and you're singing. And to me, it felt like, I'm from Africa, as you know, from the country of Chad. It felt like whenever there's a problem in the family, you have the elders sitting on the floor, you have brothers and sisters, you have the whole village basically sitting and listening. And that's the feeling, the image that I got when I saw that shot. I don't know. Yeah, it took me to that level. But